Hi folks, welcome back. Karen here. I'm just following up with a final video under the how to use MindTap in the textbook in this course. You would have recognized the welcome video. There was a video in how we use Brightspace and in the MindTap and how to register. So all of these things should be reviewed before you get to this point. If you haven't reviewed these other pieces, please make sure, I would just pause this video and go back and go through each of the welcome, the FAQ, these pieces, and then here. Because really you want to review all of these before you get started. So basically I'm going to do a little video recording of really all of the instructions and the information that is in here, because this is very lengthy, very wordy. So I thought doing a video may also support you in understanding kind of how to move forward. If you've taken a computer course before and used any of the Microsoft Office books, again, that will be familiar to you. But basically the three programs that we're going to be the introductory to Word, Excel, and PowerPoint are all going to be done in MindTap. This is just a snippet of our course in MindTap, which you need to register for first. So if you haven't done this part, which is the MindTap how to register, you need to go back and do that. Everything will be submitted into MindTap, not Brightspace. So you do need to register for MindTap, not only to access the files you'll need to even complete any of the assignments or the textbook training, but you will also be submitting all your assignments in there as well. So in the first part, I'm just going to flip to the MindTap course. So this is our course in MindTap. This is what it looks like. You'll see our name is here. Again, if you went through the registration process, you will know all these parts, so I'm not going to go through that again. If you haven't gone through those other first few modules, then you need to do that first. There are some other things in here as well. I do have a welcome to your course, and there's a couple of resources on MindTap and SAM. MindTap and SAM are essentially the same thing. The SAM part are what they are the assignments and the training. Essentially, SAM used to be the only name for this platform. Then they changed it to MindTap, and so they kept some of the components of when it used to be called SAM. So it's really essentially the same program. They just well, for whatever reasons, they just still are using both. But I'll be saying MindTap. I do have your assignments kind of listed as the SAM textbook project and SAM assignment. So those things are all attached to this MindTap course. And again, in all three of these modules, there's four modules in Microsoft Word. There are four modules that you need to complete in Excel, and there is one module that you will be completing in PowerPoint. Each one of these, Word and Excel and PowerPoint, each one of these modules have a few things in them, and they will all look the same essentially. Some have more than one textbook project. The reason for that, and I think that's in Word 1, in Word 2, and in PowerPoint Module 1. Because it's a fairly lengthy chapter, they cut it into two. So basically, you'll go through half of the module training or the textbook training from your chapter using the files from this item in here, textbook project 1.1. When you finish the first half, and it's indicated in your chapter, then you're going to be done and you're going to submit the file. Then you're going to move on to the second part of the module training, and you'll access the file you'll need to do that here. So how that works is you will click on the item, and again, these instructions are inside our Brightspace in a written format, so you can refer back to that, and you can also refer back to the video when you need to. But basically, I'm just going to go back there for a second. That's kind of hard to do because this thing's in the way. Well, that's okay. So basically, when you click on Word Module 1 SAM Textbook Project 1.1, which we were just on, this screen will open. This screen opens every time you click any one of those items besides the e-text version that is at the top of every one of the modules. But essentially, you'll come to this starting page, and it tells you a few things. There's always an exclamation point generally if there's something you need to pay attention to, and it's basically saying you must use SAM start files provided to receive credit for the assignment. You're going to disregard the textbook instructions that ask you to create a new file or to use a file from another location. The files that you're going to get are coming from inside this MindTap. When we click Start, I will show you where those will be. And that is going to be the same for every module and every item that you complete in MindTap, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. So that's one. So pay attention to that. Then you'll know again that you have to get the starter files, and those are the files that are going to be attached to you. Once you're registered to MindTap, every one of your files is encrypted basically with your content, with your username, so you can't share files or use other people's files, or MindTap will automatically indicate that it is not your file and it would be deemed as cheating. Okay, so don't do that. If somebody else is taking the course, you can't use their files. It absolutely won't work. Even if you put your name on it, it detects it automatically. So just be aware of that. There is an assignment overview in each one. So basically just completing the project, you'll read each step completely before attempting it. And some steps include multiple instructions. So in that, I would say to you as well, in this course, in each one of the whether it's the textbook training or it's the assignment and you going through the instructions in the assignment, you need to make sure you take your time and read that carefully. It is very much attention to detail. 99.9% of the time when there is error or you have an error, it's in my experience in teaching this course has been that people just didn't read things correctly, or they entered data in an incorrect way. Let's say, for example, they had a capital letter and you didn't capitalize. It will mark you wrong. So make sure you really pay attention to the details, and that will help avoid any errors. Sam is pretty bang on in terms of being accurate, and it's usually human error or some kind of attention to detail item that was done incorrectly. So for every one of the textbook trainings that you'll do for all three of the Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, and the assignment, you'll have 3 attempts to do that. So basically you can submit it the first time, and let's say you didn't do great or you want to do better, you will be able to get a graded summary report right after you submit, and I'm going to show you that. Right after you submit, and then you can open it and it'll give you the details of all the steps you did, and the red ones will be the ones that were incorrect. So you can take that, go back to your textbook training, go back to your chapter, review that part, and see maybe where you went wrong. Okay? So that's some of this information, basically telling you how many submissions you're allowed and how many you have left. So once you click on Start, 3 boxes come up, 3 steps basically, 1A, 2, and 3. The first box is basically, these are where you're going to get your files to be able to complete the textbook training as well as the assignments. And they're all going to have their own individual files. So before you do any of this downloading part, you really want to make sure you set up a spot in your OneDrive to save your files. I've set up a COMP1050 folder, and I just put Word in there for now. I put it in a separate folder for the Word Module 1 textbook project and the SAM assignment, the textbook project for Module 2, and the Module 2 assignment, etc., etc. So you want to do something similar for yourself, whatever helps you keep organized, but these files can all become very familiar looking and sometimes hard to determine which one you're supposed to submit. So it's easiest if you just separate them all out and save those files in an independent folder, so you're not, submitting or uploading an incorrect file, which has happened. So I always suggest just save that all separately in an organized fashion. So have that set up before you begin. Once you're ready to get started, you can see here it says you must use the SAM start files below. Disregard the textbook instructions that asks you to create a new file or to use a file from another location. As again, another reminder, I already said that in the opening page. This is the file that you're going to be downloading. I already downloaded it before, so that's why it's indicating that. And then it says launch project instructions. This essentially, the instructions, this is your chapter. So this is the digital version of your textbook. It's also here. It's also in the opening module that we were on before. It was the first item and then the textbook training and then assignment, but it's also in here too. I will show you in the assignment portion of each one of these modules that the instruction file is going to look different for the assignments. But for the textbook project, it's the chapter or the module from your book. And this is that SAM symbol that I indicated that you will see in your chapter as well. So it says click the module link below to open the SAM project instructions. You don't have to use the e-text version. You can certainly, I know some students love to just put the book right out on the table or up on something that's where it's standing up so you can flip through and then go back and forth from your book to the whatever works for you. Some people use double screens. That's up to you. But essentially in your chapter, you'll see these symbols and it will say in the module, look for this because this is where you're going to begin the project. Okay, so these are your little indicators as well. So when you're ready, you're going to download those files and you can see they're downloaded here. And I'm going to open that file. I'm not going to open it because I already have it saved, but essentially it's just a blank Word file. But it has your name attached to it. You can't necessarily see it because my screen doesn't go all the way up in terms of the video capturing, and that's okay. But essentially you're going to go and save that into your Word Module 1 Textbook Project 1.1 because that is what this is. This is SAM Textbook Project 1.1. You want to save that file in there and then you'll be ready to get started. So once you've downloaded your files, you don't really need to do anything else in here at that point. So I'm just going to close it for a moment. So again, in the modules, you'll see there's the e-text version and then where we just were, the textbook project training, and then the assignment down below. I also want to just open up the assignment to show you the difference between the instructions. Again, all this content will be similar. There's no exclamation point here because we're not doing textbook training, so it doesn't tell you that you need to disregard any instructions because the instructions are coming from in here. Again, you have 3 attempts and how many remaining. You click start, 3 boxes come up, and you'll see the download files for the assignment will be, here's the file I'm going to use, which is a Word document. Or sorry, that's the instructions, and then here is the file, and I'll show you those. I'm going to open that up. Again, that's just a blank Word document. And these are the instructions. So this is what the instructions for the assignment portion of your modules will look like for all 3, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. They have a similar look to them. They all are a simulation as well. So there's a company that you're going to be completing a flyer for this activity. Each one of these assignment pages have a getting started steps. It is extremely important that you follow these every time you begin the assignment, whether it's in Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, in any one of the modules. All these instructions will have a get started. You need to make sure that you follow these instructions, which is open the file that you downloaded along with the instructions, and that was what we just saw earlier. It's hard for me to show you that on this screen because, actually no, I can't do this. I'm going to do it another way. So here's the file, the instructions I just showed you. Here's the file, so you can see NP_WD Word 19 1A and my name, which is Karen Case and _1. So you can see the name tagged there. So basically the instructions are telling you make sure you have that. It will say first name, last name. It says _1, which it did. We'll just go back to that so you can see that matches up. Yep, all of that's there. I'm going to go back to the instructions. Whoops. And so now save the file, and then the next step is you have to save the file as all of the same content, first name, last name still there, no space, but it wants you to change it to an _2. It says by changing the 1 to a 2, that's basically what you're doing. There is a file extension item here for Word it's docx. For Excel, it's XLXS, I believe, and PowerPoint is PPT. Basically, if you do not see the docx file extension in the Save As dialog box when you go to save it, don't type it in, just add the two and that's fine. Okay? And that is basically those are the instructions.